Bishop Wright told me once, even if we want to do away with 5:30 Mass, we can't. Because if there's one person standing out there every morning at 5:30, I'll be surprised. So if you have to open the church for one person, Mass goes on.
And there were people idle enough to mention it off the rostrum, that he takes too much time in church and instead of doing the work of the people.
He was very much a godly person.
I think George Price and Pope Francis would have gotten along extremely well if they had been around at the same time.
A man who starts his day in commune with his God, which is what he did every day of his life. Then, that is something for young people to look at, because I don't think many people are in commune with God. And he started his day with God.
Here was a man who understood his relationship with God and whom he probably consulted with every morning before he went to work. So I really wanted to imitate his lifestyle, being close to God and asking him to help me get through my work, whether it was school or when I was at the town council, that I would have ideas that, would need to carry through with the development of this community. So basically, it was one of the things I admired, his Christianity, his love of faith, his love of God.
And what I like about Mr. Price's example is he was a person who was very faith-filled, very pious. His faith was very important to him. He'd go to daily Mass at 5:30 at Holy Redeemer every morning. When he traveled abroad on state business, he always found the hotel that was closest to a church.
We used to meet him every morning, going to church at 6 o'clock when he's in Belmopan.
In all his addresses, the last sentence he would say, "And with the grace of God, we will achieve this, we will get this." He never forgot God. You know that. We all know that. He was a good Christian, a good Catholic. No?
He gave his life to the people. Because as far as I get to understand what he wanted to be a priest. But he saw the love of the people, so he decided to give his life to the people.
I remember him for all the good that he did, for all his life that he gave for Belize. He gave his life for Belize. He married Belize.
If I could recall, he said that if you take on the leadership of the country, his family is the entire country of Belize. That's the family word. As leader, he is responsible for everybody, and he must know what they are suffering from what they are not suffering. Okay, and you take it like a business.
It was always connected to action. It wasn't a pie in the sky kind of faith that we're just supposed to sort of sit back and pray and not worry about the conditions of the world.
That is what created the philosophy of the People's United Party, which is based on social justice. That it is that philosophy.
Social justice, as it relates to the Christian faith and the Catholic faith, really goes all the way back to the Bible. I mean, to the Old Testament. You have the prophets, Isaiah and Jeremiah. There's not a prophet in the Old Testament that isn't railing up against the Israelite people, God's chosen people, for neglecting the poor, the widow, the orphan, people who are on the margins of society.
And the way he treated everybody, he could approach people of very high stature in Belize and in the world, and he could come down to the level of the poor man down there, of the common people with which he started with. When he started in 1950, with the formation of the PUP in 1950, he was with those down there, with the poor people. Those people gave him the strength to carry on this what he called the peaceful, constructive Belizean revolution.
He would simply tell his driver, stop, stop, stop. He needed to meet somebody and get out of the vehicle and shake hands with them And he would ask them who they are. In most cases, people knew him, right? People knew George Price. And he would ask them, have you had something to eat today? Always.
When I was hungry, you gave me food. When I was a stranger, you welcomed me. When I was in prison, you visited me. When I was thirsty, you gave me to drink.
He would always want to know if there was somebody sick in their homes. That was another question he would ask. Is there somebody sick in the family right now? And if everything was okay, he would always say, well, let's thank God. Let's thank God that nothing is wrong with the family. And if there was a sick person, and I don't know if people were always telling the truth, but if there was somebody sick, they would say it as well. And he would always say, well, ask, what is happening? Have they gone to see the doctor? And if they have gone to see the doctor, well, is there medicine that they need? And can I have the name of that medicine so I can find out if our hospital has it?
I think a lot of that had to do with his Jesuit training, his Jesuit background, his interest in the theology of liberation, where people matter more than you.
The Pope started writing these things called social encyclicals. Encyclical is just a letter. It's a fancy word that means a letter that circulates. And the very first one of those social encyclicals was written in 1891 by Pope Leo XIII. It's called Rerum Novarum. George Price read that. He quoted from it. He knew it. Some Jesuits say he knew it better than any priest they had met or any theologian he had met.
He used to say, God first. He used to always say that. Remember, God first. That's what he used to say. And the people.
Consistency, love of country, love of people. And when I say love of people, I don't mean just mouth. Because he truly loved Belize, and he gave his life dedicated to service.
He was very rooted in his faith, but it was a faith that did justice, as we say. It was a faith that really worked to make society a better place for everyone, especially for people who are on the margins of society, the poor, the suffering, the dispossessed.
I think all Belizeans owe a debt of gratitude to Mr. Price, even if you don't like him, even if you're in opposition to him, because what he did, not for the rich and the mighty, but for the poor and downtrodden, will not only go into the annals of history, but will forever be imprinted on the sands of time.